Tommy Castellanos silences the haters as Florida State dominated Alabama over the weekend in an unbelievable football game. Gus Malzahn, the offensive coordinator for Florida State, really dialed up a really genius offensive game plan, as he seems to do frequently against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Thomas Castellanos came out in the offseason talking about his matchup against Alabama, saying, "They don't have Nick Saban to save them. I just don't see them stopping me." And he had an unbelievable performance in Florida State's win against Alabama. And I had the honor of having Alcorn State coach Leroy Frederick joining the show to give his biggest takeaways from Florida State's victory against Alabama, as well as discussing Colorado versus Georgia Tech, because I got a lot to say, and I'm sure he does as well in that game. We'll also touch on several other games across college football, as can't wait to discuss college football review here on Bailey Price Media Live. We'll see you on the other side. Happy Monday, everybody. If you're getting in the building, pound the like button, subscribe, and become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. We're back for another edition of college football review here as Florida State dominated Alabama over the weekend. I know Coach Leroy Frederick is I can't be more ecstatic about that. I can't wait to discuss that with him. We're going to discuss all games across college football. So all those tuning in the building, I can't thank you all enough for tuning in. Shout out to Eric in the chat. What up, man? I can't thank you enough for tuning in, my man. Everyone else tuning in, it's going to be a great show. And without further ado, I'm not going to waste any further time. Got the honor of having Alcorn State Coach Leroy Frederick join the show. Coach Fred, happy Monday. Got the shades going. And, man, on the Monday after a massive victory for your Florida State Seminoles and Tommy Castellanos, Coach Fred, I'm not going to waste any of your time. Your biggest takeaways from this victory against Florida State. Go ahead. Or against Alabama for FSU. Go ahead.
First of all, I got this on because I told you so. I told you so. All right.
You did. You were right.
I told you so. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure I showed up in that type fashion.
No doubt.
Now that I got that out of the way.
Oh, my God. Coach Fred's in the building.
Let's get down to it. But, man, the biggest takeaway, Bailey, is that the bullies that we've known Alabama to be got bullied. Which was really surprising to me, but knowing Coach Malzahn and his offensive philosophy, I should have known that was going to be part of the game plan, but not to the extent that it was. So to see it was very impressive. I'm so happy for this kid, Tommy, because things could have really went off the rails with the last couple of weeks he'd had he not really had, played a good ball game. But overall, man, the game itself was really entertaining.
I mean, certainly entertaining for Florida State Seminole fans. I don't know if Alabama fans really found that as entertaining here. This Alabama fan going viral. Coach Fred, I saw your tweets and stuff. Man, I don't know. I think Crimson Tide fans will embrace this cat forever, but I don't think Crimson Tide fans were as happy. We got to see the send-off of Coach Lee Corso on College Game Day. Fox ended up airing that on Big Noon Kickoff as well, but of course, only one who picks him. Look what happens. Coach Corso, all of his teams that he coached for won, and all of his picks were right, I believe. Did you get a chance to see them send off Coach Corso?
I did. I got a chance to see that. And to go back to that young man, that was probably the funniest live television moment I've ever seen in my life. That camera couldn't cut away from that kid quick enough, man. He couldn't cut away from that kid quick enough, man. I mean, it was just like out of the blue.
It was perfect. It was unbelievable. Man.
Perfect. I appreciate you for cutting that up and putting it in the show, baby. Ain't no doubt. But I got a chance to catch Game Day, man. That was really, really cool tribute. going back to when he started, and I think they did that right. I think the send off was right, and it was only right that he got all his picks right.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's fitting. And I mean, man, I was it was hard for me to watch a little bit. I think that it was just a sad moment, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I like the way they did it. Ohio State, the band. I like that Fox broadcasted as well. It's such a big moment, such a meaningful moment. So I'm glad that they broadcasted that. Now, Gus Malzahn really dialed up a unbelievable game plan. I think this photo of Tommy Castellanos after the first touchdown got Peter Warwick and Dalvin Cook in the background, FSU alum. Man, what are your thoughts on Tommy Castellanos' performance? You already harped on it a little bit, but what are your thoughts on his performance within Gus Malzahn's system there? He's really dialed it up against Alabama over the years.
Man, it was steady and easy. Mm-hmm. He didn't try to do too much. I think he took what was given, which was really, exciting to see, because in that type of atmosphere, it would be easy for a kid to get wrapped up and try to turn it into me show. But he didn't. He stayed within the parameters of what, Coach Malzahn was calling. If you go back to his history, when he was really, really good as a coordinator, as a head coach, he had the Nick Marshalls. He had those type of guys at the quarterback position. It's kind of what Tommy is now. Is he 4.3 Nick Marshall fast? No, but he does just enough. And I think he throws it a little bit better than Marshall did back in the day when they made that run for the national championship. And let's not forget, the Noles played a little defense after that first drive, man. They made some adjustments, and they really got after him.
The D coordinator at Florida State's got Tony White coming over from Nebraska. Man, they got Coach Knighton, Terrence Knighton, NFL veteran, down there at the defensive line coach as well. I mean, I love the additions on the coaching staff for FSU. I thought that defense, Florida State on both sides of the ball, extremely physical. The offensive line, extremely physical. Defense was extremely coming after it, hitting. They really took it to Alabama. Alabama really seemed to shy away from physicality a little bit. I was like, damn, Florida State came out and punched Alabama in the mouth. I think that shocked the country. Now, Coach Fred, how do you feel Florida State will ride this momentum into the season? They got a lot of big-time matchups upcoming. What are your expectations for the rest of the season, building off this first victory in week one?
First of all, this victory, the way it's scheduled on the schedule, this victory was really, really big, because they come back next week and they have a lesser opponent, so to speak. Any given Saturday, no doubt about it. But if they lose to East Texas A&M, everybody should be told to go home that day.
Seriously.
From top to bottom. But this is the type of game you want to have to follow that game, so that you get everybody back under control. If anybody's bruised up and banged up, you get them back healthy and get ready to make a run. So, I think the expectation was high, but I think the expectations have gotten even higher. Especially when you rush for 230 yards versus Alabama, and then the other bright spot in that game, I don't want to forget it. Earl Little Jr.
Transfer.
Alabama.
Bingo.
Put on a show. He almost had double-digit tackles. 9 tackles, 4 solos, and when he came with some oomph.
Right here. Earl Little right here. Boom.
that whole thing went backwards. He had something to prove to his old team, and he did it, man. And hats off to those kids, man, because they could have went haywire after that thing got up, 7 points, 4 points, but they stayed the course. So shout out to them, shout out to the coaching staff, shout out to the scheduler who schedules East Texas A&M behind Alabama. For helping your team get to 2-0 and under control. So the expectations were high, but I think they've gotten even higher now, Bailey.
Yeah, seriously, the expectations just took a step up. Now, Coach Fred, I want to ask you about the ACC as a whole here and really dive into it. Now, I think going into the season, we discussed how wide open we thought the conference was as a whole. Now, Clemson lost last night to Brian Kelly and LSU. I don't know if you saw Brian Kelly last night on the sideline collide with an official. I don't know. I just caught that. I think some people on Twitter did too. But with Clemson losing, that's an interesting development for the ACC now. I think one loss you can certainly afford in this era of college football playoff, where the 12-team playoff at least. But how do you feel about Florida State and their conference?
I've always said from the beginning on this show when we were talking about it that we have a chance. Again, way too early. Week one, no need to crown anybody right now. No need to put anybody in the cellar. But I mean, I feel like, after watching both games, there's not a huge gap either way. The offseason, everybody had Clemson head and shoulders above everybody. I didn't see that, Bailey, and I'm not being garnet and gold colored glasses. I just didn't see that. And I know there's a lot of improvement between week one and week two, so we'll see. Mm-hmm. But both teams played SEC teams. Both teams were at home, and one team I think fared a little better than the other one, no doubt. Now the question really is LSU this much better than Alabama, or so that race is going to tell a lot as well. But I think we still have a very good shot at the ACC, no doubt about it. Georgia Tech looked tough, and I know we'll talk about that, but I feel good about it. I still feel good about it.
Yeah, I still feel good about it too. I'm kind of like, whoa here. Like, okay, Florida State really is, they've really 180'd here. They look much improved, physical, extremely physical. Now, Coach Fred, that brings me to my next question here, and we're going to go over to the Alabama side of things here because we got to really dive into their performance here. But Dan Orlovsky revealed some takeaways from Alabama's disappointing loss to Florida State, saying if Nick Saban watched this tape back yesterday, he would have kicked some of these kids off of the team. Now, Coach Fred, I don't know if you saw this block from this game. Florida State tight end rolls out and has an unbelievable block here. Let's take a listen to Dan Orlovsky's comments and we'll react.
Saban watched this tape back yesterday, he would kick some of the kids off the team. That's how bad it was. And Alabama's problem is their controllables. You watch this defense run to the football and you're like, where is the effort to the ball? The tackling to the ball. It's not a talent issue. It's a controllables issue. And I think it is fair to say, can Kalen DeBoer survive September? And I know they have
September, Coach. Woo! Coach, what are your thoughts on Dan Orlovsky's comments there as to Alabama's poor performance against FSU and them getting out physical and dominated by Florida State?
One, it's way too early. And I get the expectations that, that university has. I get it. But it's way too early to start calling that. Sure. And then two, at the end of the day, we've got to stop comparing him to Nick Saban because he's not Nick Saban. We've got to stop comparing the teams because me and you talked about it before, Bailey. This wasn't the same era Coach Saban was winning in. Ooh. You know what I mean? This is not the same era. This is the era of transfer as many times as you can, as you want, make as much money as you want. So teams like Florida State that went 2-10 last year can get really, really healthy the next year because of the transfer portal. If they have the backing, the financial backing. And I think that's kind of what they ran into. And then I think right now what Coach DeBoer is running into is that guy that's on every Saturday talking about the games. He ain't going nowhere no time soon. So everybody's going to hold on to that. So the expectations are really high. But I think people also forget that he got the job because he went to the college football playoffs with a team in Washington. So, I mean, as Ivy said, he can coach. It's just one of those things where I think they've got to get what they want in, and of course it has to happen sooner than later.
Bingo, Coach Fred. I think it's pretty well said. Social media is such an interesting reaction to things. They're so quick to go at people. Like you mentioned, Kalen DeBoer is getting killed. I mean, Bama's just getting killed on Twitter. Pat Shermer in Colorado, who we're about to discuss here in a sec, getting killed on Twitter. They're going at player. I mean, social media reaction is a bit of an overreaction here. So I think your perspective is pretty accurate there. I think he's going to have a lot of patience, certainly in Alabama, a lot more than people think. I've seen people already make hot seat lists and shit like John Gruden and all this. I'm like, guys, you got to slow down here. I guess that's just not realistic. So Coach Fred, I think your perspective there is spot on. Now let's dive into Colorado versus Georgia Tech. And I want to start it this way here. Jordan Seaton, Colorado star offensive tackle, made some revealing comments and calls out Colorado's offensive identity after their loss to Georgia Tech, where they only rushed the ball 29 times. 13 of those were to Caden Salter, leaving 16 of those to the backs. 11 of those carries were to Michael Welch, who, by the way, ran for 5.8 yards a carry. Had Simeon Price, the other back, who had 5 carries, and 1 carry to DeKalen Taylor. Take a listen, folks.
Try to make football complicated. You run the ball, they stack the box. Now you throw the ball. Once they do that, now they spread out. Now we running RPOs. We got a quarterback with legs. Now we're going to let him use his legs. So now we got to get to a point where we're playing chess with teams, you know? And I think establishing a run will help, you know, the pass, the RPOs, the quick plays. Will help everything. When you run the ball, people fear to run.
Bingo. I am not on the fire Pat Shurmur train or bench Caden Salter train. I am on the Colorado lean into your run game train. When after your first turnover, you go and lean into the run game. You had an unbelievable play with Michael Welch. You go down and score. Caden Salter throws a touchdown pass. Then after that, we don't see the run game much at all until the beginning of the second half, where they leaned into it. Kind of, not really. They didn't really lean into the run game at all in this game, Coach. What are your thoughts of Jordan Seaton's comments there, and then the game as a whole?
You know, that's tough for him as a player to make that comment, that type of comment, because the fingers can come back at him because, you know, even when they did draw back and pass, even if you're not happy with that being the play call, maybe you wanted to run, you still got to do your job. And there was a lot of times Salters was flushed out because of. So, you know, as a player, man, you just have to be careful with those comments. Leave them to the fans like me and Bailey to make those comments. But you've said all along, leading up to the season, that if they didn't run the ball, that they were going to have a hard time. And you called that weeks ago. If they didn't run the ball, they would have a hard time. And I think they put a little bit of emphasis on it, a little more than they did last year.
Sure.
But still not enough.
Yes.
You know, Georgia Tech turned the ball over 3 times on the road. There's no way you win that ball game. I don't care who you're playing. You're not supposed to win that ball game. But when you have those consistent 3 and outs, you give them a chance to make a play. And then the other problem, and you may be about to touch on this, but the other problem Colorado has is they almost gave up 500 yards on the ground.
Yeah, Haynes King completely outrushed Colorado as a unit. Haynes King himself had 156 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns. Colorado as a team only rushed for 140. So, yeah, Coach Fred, Colorado defensively has got to really figure it out in the trenches. Matt McChesney and I just had Chad Brown on, 15-year NFL veteran, Colorado alum, to talk about that. He played linebacker at Colorado. Both he and Matt were pissed, to say the least, that Colorado's getting, gutted like that up front. Man. I will say Jordan Seaton's performance, though, I don't doubt his performance. He was the highest graded tackle of any tackle in college football. I think he had an unbelievable performance nonetheless. Now, it's tough to, as an offensive lineman, when it's 3rd and 2, there was multiple times in this, Coach Fred, but for example, we're 3rd and 2 right here. Instead, I was an offensive lineman, 3rd and 2, you're past midfield here. You lean into the run game. I would be pissed if I was an offensive line. I'd be pissed if I were Jordan Seaton here, because what does Colorado do? They don't run the ball. They run a sprint out. They run a sprint. So this isn't the only time they've done it. They've done it multiple times. They don't. That's not leaning into it, Coach Fred, and that's why I think they ultimately lost the game. We can discuss clock management in a second, but that me watching it is extremely frustrating.
If you make that call on 3rd, Bailey, you've got to be telling me you're going for it on 4th down.
And on top of it, they punted it. Like they're punting on fourth and 1 on the 50. Like it's, again,
yeah.
Why do you put so much intention seemingly into your personnel, having a massive offensive line, bringing in Marshall Faulk and Andre Gerard, if you're just gonna not use them? I don't know. And on top of the Caden Salter, he's getting all kinds of heat. To be honest with you, Coach Fred, that was kind of a Shador offense. I didn't see a lot of. It's hard for me to judge Caden Salter's performance when I feel like he was being forced to play like Shador ball. I feel like if we really dialed up some more quarterback runs, like for example, when Georgia Tech had those 3 turnovers, they didn't fucking shy away from it and pass the ball the rest of the game. They said, this is our identity. We're going to pound the rock with Haynes King, and they worked for them. They figured it out. Colorado, the minute they ran the ball after the first drive, they shied away from it, and that was one of my biggest frustrations with their week 1 performance, Coach Fred. Do you have any comments there?
Yeah, and they didn't have to, because it wasn't like they fell behind. They could have stuck with that first drive, that first 10 on the play call sheet or whatever. And then, going back to the play you just ran, if you're going to do that, it's got to be a run pass option. He's got to have one option. To throw it is not there. Then I need to see him tuck it and get up in there. Yep. Or unless, hey, we're going to line up, we're going to go heavy on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and then we're going to run for it. But, to move the pocket like that, I don't know what the thinking was, but normally that's kind of what you do in those situations, especially where that ball is at that point. That's one of those, you got 4 downs to get it. That kind of thing.
100%. When you have a quarterback like Caden Salter's as good of an athlete, if not better than Haynes King. Like we didn't see the quarterback powers and the quarterback runs. A lot of Caden Salter's 13 carries were him pulling it, him scrambling around and making plays with his feet, but they weren't designed runs, which is another part of Colorado not leaning into the run game. Now, Coach Fred, let's address the clock management here. Colorado, at the end of the game, they had one drive down 7 to go down and score and tie it against Georgia Tech. The first play, they come out, they run a swing screen behind the line of scrimmage. They throw it to Welch behind the line of scrimmage, and he's tackled for a loss. And that, by the way, he started the clock with 1:07 left. They don't call a timeout there, so they hurry up to the line, snap with about 45, 50 seconds left, get it off to Hakeem Williams over the middle here, gets about 5 or 6 yards. Short of the line of gain, though. The clock keeps running. There's no timeout called. I would have called a timeout after the first swing screen where you're tackled for a loss. I would have cut it right there. But, nonetheless, the clock keeps running, and then Salter, they snap it again. Salter rolls out and runs all the way across the sideline out of bounds, and there's 18 seconds left, Coach Fred. That, and then Coach Prime's comments afterwards were just frustrating, to say the least. I'll show them and then get your comment, Coach Fred.
Looking at that last drive specifically, having 2 timeouts left, what was your thought process with Coach Pat Shermer, and how do you guys come up with your management for that situation?
I think we got out of bounds a couple times, so we didn't have to take them. So that's what transpired. We got out of bounds, I think, on both sidelines. And that's what happened after the first. I think we got a good play, and we caught the ball, I think, for 9 yards. We got 1 yard to go. So if you get the first down, the clock stops. So it don't make sense to really use your timeout in that sense. So we were just really trying to preserve them till we certainly needed them. So, I don't want to go home with timeouts. They don't do me no good, but you got to be strategic as well. Just burning timeouts just to burn them, just so you guys won't say nothing. That don't make sense.
And then he calls out the media at the end there. What the fuck does the media have to do with it? Coach Fred, take it away. Give us your perspective from a coach here. Go ahead.
After the first play, okay, we don't want to burn it there. I'm good with that. We hustle back. That's the first play right there. Boom. Now, I need to see him hustling a little bit harder to get up and get the ball back to the hash. All right. Second play, a little farther, a little longer drawn out. Even though you're short, I got to get it, right? I got to get it banged down right now because I got to stop it after this play right here, because I didn't stop it then. I got to stop it after this, right? I got to stop it after this because we didn't get the first down. We didn't get out of bounds. Yep. I got to stop it after this. Now I call the guys over. Now, hey, look, we get the first. If we throw the out route, whatever, we get out of bounds. We still got one left. Even if we run the ball in that situation, he's right. The clock stops. This is what we're running. This is the formation we're getting to. We still have one left. We still have clock stoppage. And we also have the option to kill it, right?
That's true.
Also have the option to kill it. But he's got to understand, the QB's got to understand, we can't have this type of play.
Also true, yeah.
Hey, 1 look, 2 look, get rid of it. Can't have you out there scrambling in that situation because the clock is ticking away. And again, to each his own. But if you don't get that first down after that, those first 2 plays, I think you got to bang it right there.
Seriously, and you mentioned a sense of urgency that they got back to the ball. It was weird watching how this all play out. He doesn't do anything. I was just sitting here like I was shocked. I reacted to it live here on Bailey Price Media.
That's too much time right there.
I just couldn't. I was like, I was just like right there. Like I would have called it after the first fucking play. Shit, don't even cut the loss. And but anyway.
Yeah, got to have to after that one.
So what do you think of his comments after the game and what he said and calling out the media and whatnot? Part of me would want him to be like, yeah, I should have called a timeout or whatever. I don't know. I just thought the comments were certainly odd considering the situation and really line up to what he said afterwards. I don't know.
I didn't understand it because I only saw just that one when I went back and kind of caught the last part of it. I only saw like that one time.
He only got out of bounds with 18 seconds. Yeah, that's my point. They didn't get out of bounds with Welch here in the first swing play. They didn't get out of bounds when they threw it to Hakeem Williams the second play. So I'm a little lost here. I hope that we can Colorado. I don't know. We talked about it, Matt McChesney and Chad Brown and I. Where is the coach that is coming up to Coach Prime saying, you got to call a timeout here? Like Matt brought it up. Are they scared to say that to him? Are they scared to say call a timeout? Like, is that something? Like, what's the – I don't know.
Just a sense of urgency by just looking at that picture. It's almost like the kids were expecting something.
Yeah, seriously.
As well in that situation, you know what I mean? And then you can't have a long, drawn-out play call in that situation. It's got to be a one word, and everybody knows what that one word is, or it's got to be kill, hurry up, spike the ball, now with 3rd and 1 or whatever it was after that. But, yeah, the sense of urgency was just the main thing, and then the comments after was just, I don't know, it was a little bit off for me because I don't remember a couple times getting out of bounds under a minute, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and as a coach, in offseason, you have the whole offseason to go over scenarios, all kinds of scenarios, clock management scenarios, 2-minute drill, etc. It seems like this is a scenario that you would have gone over and handled differently based on practice, but
get up right now, find that ref, don't throw it to it, hand it to him, because if he drops it, he's going to fumble around and get to moving. Everybody needs to be yelling whatever the call is. See, it's too casual right there for me, Bailey.
Yeah, unbelievable, coach.
Gotta go.
We'll see how Colorado, they go and face Delaware in week 2 and then have Wyoming in week 3 before they open in conference.
They got to get those two, man.
Oh, they can't. No, Coach Ray, they can't drop them. They got to blow them out, and they got to look commanding on offense here, really establish the run game and actually lean into it. That's the thing. There's several takeaways that I think against lower competition, Colorado can definitely work it out, have a good 3 quarters. Maybe Colorado fans would like this, see Julian Lewis in this 4th quarter or something. If they blow out Delaware or something. I'm just saying, Colorado has 2 games against lower tier opponents where they can, I think, really work out the kinks before they begin in-conference play. But, man, Coach, it's great getting your perspective. Did you catch the Miami game?
Yeah, I caught a little bit of that while we were game planning as well. Got a chance to put it up on the screen while we're doing our little thing.
Yes, sir.
I had a question for you as well.
Yes, sir.
Was the performance by the quarterback from Miami worth $6 million? And I know it's week 1. I know it's week 1.
Mm-hmm. I thought he was put in a really great position. I'll say this: I think Miami defensively looks. They look a completely different team. Coach Heatherman, the new DC down there, took over for Lance Guidry. Man, has done a hell of a job. They look much more physical. Schematics-wise, unbelievable defensive performance from Miami. I thought offensively, I was concerned about Carson Beck's weapons on offense, and I was curious to see how Miami's, new run game would look here. I thought offensively he looked really good. I don't know if you saw the kid, the 17-year-old Malachi Toney, who had an unbelievable performance. He really put his name on the map there. He's going to be a young, elite receiver to watch in college football. 17 years old was Carson Beck's leading receiver.
That's crazy when you say that.
Is it worth $6 million, Coach? Kind of a long-winded answer here. I know what other quarterbacks are getting paid. I thought he was efficient, seemed much more comfortable, played pretty well. I would say yes. In Miami's case, Miami has all the momentum right now. He's got several weapons out there. The kid CJ Daniels, who made the one-handed catch. They got weapons to go for Beck. So to answer your question, I would say yes in this aspect. Right now, it looks like it's paying off. Shoot.
We'll mark it down on your desk calendar. I'm saying 2 of those touchdowns could have went either way. And
yeah.
Versus a better secondary, so to speak.
That's what Coach JB said. I was talking to Coach JB. That's the exact thing he said. He's like, Is Carson Beck really good, or are the balls he's throwing or his receivers kind of bailing him out? That's the question.
Yeah, that catch right there.
That was unbelievable catch.
If you go back and you look, the DB was already running the other way because he thought he had it, and that was pick six. Right now, if was a fifth, the saying, we would all be, whatever.
Yeah.
But again, and I like when Cam Newton says it. It's not a bad thing. $6 million for a game manager. I mean.
The Brock Purdy situation, Coach Fred, as we get closer to it, two different players completely, but similar situation of game management.
Definition. Yeah. By definition, you got those guys, just get it close. Don't overdo it. Just keep it in the middle of the road. Shannon Dawson did a great job with the balance, with some of the calls, keeping him out of harm's way. But if he's got to go get that game from Miami, can he do it? You know what I mean? And I guess that's yet to be seen. Again, way too early predictions. Week 1. Welcome to the Bailey and Coach Fred review show.
Exactly. College football review here. Coach, after I watched that game, the first thought that popped into my head, I can't wait for Miami, Florida. I can't wait. I think it's week 4, week 5 on the schedule. I think that's around the time Florida plays Texas. I cannot wait. That is going to be an electric football game. Florida played Long Island, LIU, so I'm not. I think they won like 60-0 or something. We'll discuss them when they play some more, higher tier competition. But that's a game that I can't wait to discuss. Florida, Miami here down the line.
Looking forward.
Coach, we got to address tonight because we have covered this team.
You ready, huh?
Any other team on this show, and I've kind of waited to discuss this. Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels finally get to see it tonight. They host Josh Hoover, the quarterback down there for TCU, and Sonny Dykes head to Chapel Hill to take on Gio Lopez, South Alabama transfer, who will be QB1 for the Tar Heels. Over 70 transfers for the Tar Heels starting Coach Fred. 9 out of 11 defensive starters are transfers in. Coach Fred, what are your expectations for the game tonight? I'm excited to see it. I think, personally, I'm a believer. If Michael Lombardi went out there and overturned 70 players, I don't think they're going to be shitty. I'll say that. I think they're going to look different. And I against TCU, I think they could have a lot of success. Coach Fred, what are your expectations tonight?
I want to know what your spread is because I know you've been waiting on this game for a long time. So what is your game time spread going to be? You got steak lobster. You went, tacos. What'd you do?
Oh, man. So you're talking about spread like food. I was talking about I'm taking North Carolina tonight to whoop them. That's what I'm talking about.
TCU's favorite.
I know. I love the Tar Heels in this spot. I think North Carolina, TCU could be walking into a buzzsaw. We have no idea what we're going to get with North Carolina. Big question mark versus TCU is more of a, homegrown team. Yeah, they bring in some transfers, but for the most part, that's more of a team that's been there and really developed. Josh Hoover's been there for a couple of years now. Also played well in the Sonny Dykes system. Now, Coach, I don't even know what to expect.
I'm excited. I want to see Gio. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I want to see that kid because he really hit the road. Hit the map, however you want to put it. He did some big things last year for Coach Heupel down there at South Al, man. So, again, they invested in him quite a bit. Yeah. I'll be interested in seeing what they put around him
for sure.
As well. When you talk about 70 new faces, 70 new personalities, 70 different styles of play, how has Coach Belichick been able to put that all together? And has he been able to put that all together to a point to where it's going to look the way that Bailey is expecting it to look tonight? Yeah. When we're talking about the floor, the roof, the ceiling, where are we at in this process?
If they can manage the trenches and run the football, I'm going to be pretty optimistic for UNC. I'm curious to see how Gio looks against some, higher tier competition under the bright lights on, this is the only game on, Coach. Everybody's watching this one. Coach Belichick's first start. It's so ironic TCU gets to face Dion in his first start at Colorado, or first game at Colorado, and then Coach Belichick at UNC. It's just ironic that they have that in 2 or 3 years. I don't know.
And how has Coach Belichick adjusted to the college game? You know,
Right.
we just got here now. How much of the pro style is he going to try to implement in what North Carolina is going to do offensively and defensively? You know, so a lot of key things to watch, man. I know you're probably more excited than anybody else, except for people in Chapel Hill.
That's right.
To see
That's
this.
right. Let's go. I've been talking about this team the whole offseason, Coach. I have a question for you. This is kind of a silly question. I got asked this, I think, on my live stream, like Texas Ohio State, one of my live streams over the weekend. But is Jordan Hudson going to be in the side? Were you the one who asked me? I think somebody on the show asked me this. Is Jordan Hudson going to be on the sideline, Coach?
No
No?
chance. No chance. She'll be up in the booth, but she won't be on the side.
I swear, Coach Belichick, she's on the sideline. That's going to be a distraction. I'll tell you, the kid. I mean, you know how the media is, Coach. It's already been a frenzy for that. Oh,
and
boy.
The other question would be, we need to do it right now. What's the over/under the camera finds her in the booth during the game?
I say 5. I mean, over under 4.5. I would take the over personally. I think it definitely could, especially like if they have any. I mean, if they have any success, like watch out. Like, I mean, they're not going to show her if they're losing, probably, but I mean, if they have any success, yeah, I expect several camera pans to the booth, or who knows, man?
Wherever
knows
she is,
with that?
wherever she is.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Michael Lombardi said it's kind of a bit played out or whatever. I don't know. We'll come to find out tonight, though. I think it's going to be. Electric game. Michael Jordan, Mia Hamm, all the UNC alum, Lawrence Taylor, Julius Peppers, Eric Church, Chase Rice, Blake Snell, and go on and on for the loaded alumni list that'll be attending the game tonight. But man, I mean, Coach, I want to go this way. Do you have a score prediction for tonight?
Man, I do.
Or do you have like a general sense of how you think this game will go? I think it could actually be a higher scoring game if North Carolina's offense, can settle in. I think TCU and Josh Hoover, they're going to put some points on the board. I do. I think he's coming off a whole offseason to develop. I've had several people down at TCU on this show. The owner of Frogs Up, the podcast down there, I've had him on. Man, I think they're going to score some points, but it's all about UNC's offense. What are your thoughts for the total or whatever tonight, your prediction?
I think it's going to, hang with what we've seen this weekend, man. I think it's going to be in one of those games where it's going to be in the 30-point. So, I'm saying 31-24 in that area right there. And I just, I'm going to go with the team that's favored. I'm going to take them. I know you have it the other way.
Unbelievable, Coach Fred. We do all this work in the offseason, all this hard work of diving into this team.
I gotta go the other way just because they don't have 70 transfers. That's the only reason.
Sure. That's a great answer.
I think by the time North Carolina catches its footing and they get really gelled in, it may be too late in the fourth quarter. But going forward, I think they'll be pretty good if they can get themselves to play as one. And I know Coach Belichick and his crew, those guys are professionals and they live by that. So, 1 week in the NFL, you have one team, and then the next week you have another team with trades and injuries. So they know how to handle that kind of stuff, as far as putting things together and gelling things. So how quickly can those kids put it together is the question. So I got to go with the team that has the less amount of transfers with an experienced quarterback in the offense. So I got to go with them.
That's a very fair answer. Matt and I just interviewed Chad Brown, and we talked about why Colorado on the defensive side just is getting punched in the mouth, specifically in the D-line and linebacker core, where both of them play for CU. And Chad Brown kind of brought up that it's something you and Coach JB have talked about. We've discussed it. Chemistry within players where you're a transfer portal-heavy team. What we brought up with Colorado, where there isn't necessarily as much of a devotion to play for the guy next to you as there was 15 and 20 years ago, could possibly be affecting Colorado in a way. And I'm interested to see how how UNC with 70 transfers comes out and gels that team. Because right now I think Colorado is kind of all over the place here. And that's something that Chad Brown brought up that I think could apply to North Carolina as well, good or bad in that sense. Coach Fred, what is your perspective on that as you're actively coaching?
I think it's the same thing that Chad is talking about, that Matt's talking about, that you're talking about, that JB's talking about. You got to understand that we're still talking about 17 to 23-year-olds. Some been at different destinations. Bailey, the professional world, when you take a job, they tell you do not discuss your salary with other employees. That's a fireable offense. You know what I mean? And I think, at some point here, and I'm not saying this is what's going on, but I think at some point that's going to rear its ugly head, because the backup quarterback at Colorado is driving a what? And, the starting center is getting what? And I'm just using them because we're talking about it, but that's going to be something all around, because they're kids. So, at the end of the day, everybody's going to feel like they're more important than the next person. So that's one of those things that you've got to, as a coach, you've got to find a way to take that away from their thought process and put them all in one thing. Like, hey, man, we're playing for the team right here. And the quicker you can get them to buy into that, Bailey, the better off.
Oh, 100%, Coach Fred. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how these teams that rely heavy on the portal gel going forward. Teams like Texas Tech, I'm really interested. They played, I think, East Texas A&M, I actually think is who they played. And I think they won like 62-0 or something. But teams like that, I'm really interested to see how they mesh against.
Spent a lot of money, man.
Yeah. A lot of different kids in there, and they're on fire. They're recruiting. They land all kinds of class of 26 recruits now going into 27. They're landing all kinds of recruits, but it's going to be interesting to see whether that ultimately leads to success. It's going to be interesting. I think in certain circumstances, like in Colorado's case, it has, but now we're really going to see. I think it helped having Shedeur and Travis, and now in Colorado's case, we're going to really see North Carolina as a complete we don't know. We don't know nothing. We don't even know. I'm excited, though. I think that I have a lot of faith in Michael Lombardi. I think that them approaching this era of college football and, saying we're a professional team, we want to be the 33rd NFL team. I think that they're going to take the ACC by storm still. I think they could win 7 or 8 games and be a thorn in people and really cause some people problems coming to the end of the year, Coach. I don't know. That's me. I know you don't agree. It's going to be a good game tonight.
All aboard.
Exactly. I'm betting it. Give me North Carolina on the over of 54.5. I think could be a higher scoring game, especially with Josh Hoover and TCU coming back, experienced offense there. But I can't wait for that game, Coach, tonight. It's going to be a hell of a game. Man, I don't know. Could we see Michael Jordan walk out of the tunnel with Bill? I don't know. There's about to be some stuff going down. Yeah, seriously. Coach, it's great getting your perspective here for College Football Review Monday. Can't wait to have you on towards the end of the week and the next week for College Football Review. You got a Common Man podcast on Wednesday?
Yeah. We're going to brush up on that loss we took. And then, of course, we have the health initiative that'll be starting it off with Dr. Kinsey again. We'll be in there, man. Common Man podcast, YouTube, man. Right. Do your boy a favor, go subscribe, like, all that kind of stuff, and make sure you tune in with us 2 days a week, right, B?
That's right. Tune in and go follow Coach Fred on the Common Man podcast. He does a hell of a job, 5 p.m. Eastern. Also go follow him on Instagram. Coach Fred's Instagram be popping. Go follow Coach Fred on the Common Man podcast on IG. And we'll see Coach Fred here on Bailey Price Media Live later in the week. As we get ready for another massive weekend of football. Coach Fred, the NFL's here too. Shit, we got to discuss that. We haven't even talked NFL. NFL kicks off here on Thursday, so we'll have to discuss. But, man, I'm just really glad football is back. And, Coach Fred, great getting your perspective today. Thank you.
Happiest time of the year, baby.
That's right. Coach, we'll see you in the end of the week. Enjoy your Monday, and check out Coach Fred on the Comment podcast. Thank you so much, Coach. Absolutely. See you soon, Coach. Shout out to Alcorn State Coach Leroy Frederick, the main man, the legend, for getting his perspective on FSU. I know he is more than happy about FSU's massive victory against Bama, talking Colorado, talking a little Canes and the Miami Hurricanes, and so much more here on Bailey Price Media Live. If you're watching, go ahead and pound that like button, subscribe, and become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. A lot of people in the chat. Shout out to you guys, Eric, Brett Alexander, for tuning in. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. We'll be live here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, right back here, Bailey Price Media Live. We got a special guest joining the show as we continue to discuss all things NFL and college football news, coverage, breakdowns, etc. It's going to be a hell of a time tomorrow, so tune in for that. Got a very special guest that I can't wait to reveal to you guys as well. But enjoy your Monday and enjoy North Carolina as Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels whoop some ass tonight against TCU. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Enjoy your Monday night of football. Peace.